Hey, I want to talk about why logic is easy and emotions are hard for people on the autism spectrum. Have you ever wondered why many autistic people are brilliant with logic, patterns, and systems, but completely exhausted by emotions and social situations? Okay, well, it's not because they lack empathy or don't care. It's a brain wiring issue. So let's talk about the logic brain and the emotional brain and how it works in autism. In ASD, there's kind of a neutral trade-off. The logic brain, the parts in the back of the brain that handle patterns, details, and visual thinking, is often extremely strong. The emotional social brain, the parts that read faces, tone of voice, and other people's feelings, is often overloaded and underconnected. So, you get a mind that can analyze systems really well, but finds people confusing, intense, and exhausting. That's not a character flaw, though. It's a brain wiring issue. You know what? Think of a brain like a city. Autistic brains usually have awesome local roads, lots of tight connections in the logic neighborhoods that handle visual detail and pattern recognition. But the highways, the long distance connections that link emotion, memory, and decision making, are often weaker. Logic tasks mostly stay local. In other words, here's the pattern, here are the rules, let me solve it. Emotional and social tasks need the highways. In other words, what is that face? What does it mean? How do I respond in this situation with this history and this relationship? So if the highways are shaky, social stuff feels like laggy internet, slow, confusing, and unreliable. Now here's the twist. The emotional brain in autism often isn't underactive, it's too active. Early on, the emotional centers that can be extra sensitive, in other words, faces, eye contact, loud noises, crowds, all of that can trigger huge internal reactions. And over time, the brain learns, this is too much, I need to shut this down. So the person may avoid eye contact, avoid social situations, flatten their reactions, not because they don't feel or don't care, but because they feel too intensely and need to protect themselves. Now, to the outside world, that looks like underdeveloped emotions. Now, inside, it's often emotional overload. So, in a world that feels chaotic, loud, and emotionally intense, logic becomes a safe place. Systems are predictable, rules are clear, patterns don't judge you. So, the autistic brain naturally invests more and more in the logic circuits, the parts that feel safe, controllable, and soothing.